screen. If you're not, please send me a message right now. So anyways, I assume everything is working fine. So thanks, Aditya. Now I'll start the productization process. I'll come to the next slide. So what I understand, I need to understand from you, or I'll just mention my understanding is, what is an idea? Usually an idea is a thought or any new concept which is trying to resolve the current problem, or which is trying to resolve the problem for you, for anyone which is very close to you, or any specific community. So anything that you come up with, a product or solution which is really solving a problem, is an idea. Usually what I believe is an idea, any idea, when you start coming up with any idea, you should not feel like, oh yes, this is a great idea. Because having that concept behind that, saying that my idea is the best idea, is not good. There are various reasons behind that. What I'm saying is, the reason behind those are, if you notice, any ideas that you come across, it's changing in every 3 minutes, every 3 months. Various reasons behind that, because technology is changing so fast. Let's say if you purchase any new mobile, what happens is, after some time you feel like, oh this mobile which is used by some other people are having much better technology, much better connectivity than what I'm using right now. So then you feel a little bad about it, or would prefer to change it. Similarly, behavior of the user is also not constant, because even a lot of technology is changing. So that's the reason you should not believe that your idea is always the great. And usually what happens with the idea is, idea can also change or become a common after some time. And a lot of time what happens, you come up with certain idea, and then you feel, yes, my idea is unique enough. I'm sure no one might have thought about it. And the moment you start sharing with few people, few hundreds of people, and then you realize that these ideas are always in the air. The majority of the key happens is in the execution. Before going further, I'll need to talk about product Iceberg. So Iceberg is the concept which I've just taken it. Consider that the 10% of the product which is visible as an iceberg on a top surface to anyone is the visible product which is really getting launched in the market. 90% of the rest of the product, the entire process which goes really, deep behind that to really deliver that product to the end customer, is that 90% which is not visible. And someone really, as a product manager or as a decision maker, as a CEO, that they really need to focus more on this 90% of it to make sure that you have a better product which is visible to the customer. Not only visible, but it's usable and various aspects of it. This is a very common example, I think, which everyone, relates to it. For example, a lot of time what happens is, we may, do a market research and ask customer, what you think about what exactly your pain points are, and customer start explaining in certain way, product or project leader takes it in some other way, engineer designs in the way they understand, and so and forth. And customer is really getting billed for a good amount for what they haven't expected. At the end, if you see that, what the customer is really needed is a simple and easy solution, which after using it, they should be comfortable, or they should be able to resolve their main pain points. But in reality, a lot of time, because of this communication gap across the level within your company, the product which is really getting delivered at the end is not what customer wanted or is really customer needs. The other concept behind this is a lot of time what happens is the idea is so easy to come. If you are just thinking of certain pain points or certain problems, what happens is to come up with an idea saying that, okay, this particular solution is the best and this will really resolve the majority of the problem that people are facing. The main part starts when we start executing. Once you start executing, a lot of unknowns will be uncovered, a lot of challenges that you will be faced, a lot of yes or no's you will get it from the user, and you may feel that, oh, am I really going towards failure, or is there anything that is this the end of the world, or should I really continue with the product? So passion is the key element that probably that will keep you continue with any idea or product that you start on. If that is always the case, and what you should really focus upon. So focus has to be always on the problems. If you try to understand and empathize what is the problem that you're trying to solve, if you understand what are the pain points that user has and you are building this solution for them, the execution part and the vision behind that will always stay as it is. So I would suggest to focus on problems and pain points and keep that always in mind. Next, I would like to talk about value. Quickly, I'll just go through this definition of value. Value is the worth in monetary terms of the benefits. It could be economic, technical, services, and social, in excess of the cost incurred to realize those benefits. What I mean by this is your value of the product will increase if the benefits which you are trying to give it to the user is more compared to the cost incurred to create that product. So the cost of the product has to be really very basic or very optimal to deliver those benefits. If those are really delivered well by keeping the cost in place, then the value of the product is really high. The next, a lot of time what happens, as you keep thinking of a lot of features, saying that, okay, I have these features in my technical person will come up with a lot of, nice to have features. They feel that instead of, targeting separate customer altogether, let's keep everything in one particular application or a product and see, which one we will like it and all. What happens initially is, if you see this graph, what happens initially when you're, limiting very less number of features, user happiness would be really increasing. And as much as, less number of features as they're using it, they feel that, yes, this is I have perfect control over it, and this product is wonderful. And the moment it reaches the peak where, you're crossing the bottom line, or you're crossing the number of features which are really important to the user, see what happens in the user's mind. They start feeling, what is this? Why I can't, these number of features are there which are really confusing me. I never used this particular feature, still why it's there. And then that's where the frustration starts, building up. And at the end, what happens? The more number of features that you added to any particular product or services which are unused by a specific segment of the user, then they start feeling frustrating and they quit. So before jumping into productization process, so now as we understood what happens with the product idea and the value, so this is where the productization process comes in really handy. Where now what we will understand is there are 5 phases to productization process. I'll go a little on brief on each phases, and then we'll see how we can connect this or see the examples of the product which are really successful or not doing good in the market. So first thing is the understanding value. So once so how do you really understand the value? Though you have a wonderful idea, do you have, something which really solves the problem? What you need to do is the proper market research, market analysis. How you do that? What you have to do is, you have to pick up that there are a lot of ways where you can really gather meaningful data from the market. Once you, for example, let's say you decide what kind of sampling size that you want to really interview people, what kind of data that you want to see from the Gartner report. It could be primary report, secondary data research. Once you gather everything, you need to really find the bright spots among them. You need to really find the customer insights from that. Once you have interviews with them, and even after finding those, you start building little bit things over here, or have a broader picture of it, what the product is looking like. Then again, do a quick validation with the few set of users. And check whether, yes, this is the thinking is still matching with the customers. Once you have certain things, you need to have a quick competitive analysis. Don't go deeper inside the competitive analysis, but this analysis always helps you to stay ahead in the game and check, you're always understanding what, or you're trying to anticipate what moves that they're going to take it, and based on that, you also make your plan. Next is about the performance analysis. Once you start building, or you make sure that whatever product or services that you're making it, that is enhancing the performance of the user, performance of the system. Next is creating value. So once you understand the value by doing wonderful market research, checking with the users, what you have to do is you have to start building it. You have to start creating a lot of personas and scenarios around it, and make sure that you have at least 3 or 4 personas within each segment of it. Once you have that, you need to have a wonderful UX team which would support you, which would really help you to further do a user research. Ethnography is there, a lot of first research that needs to be done, that has to be taken care. Once you have all good piece, then that's where the project manager also comes in handy, where he will make sure that he's taking care of each and every requirement and managing it well, right from and then managing each and every stakeholder requirement as well. Once you have that, it's not in a specific order, but I'm trying to say that these are the pieces really required to have building a right product. And next is portfolio management. Once you have a certain set of products that comes in your mind to resolve a specific issue, what you need to do is you need to manage a portfolio of the products that you either already have in it or you already planning to launch it. There are various ways where you can do a portfolio analysis and then take a call whether you really need to kill any specific product or you really need to put money on specific product. For example, in olden days, PCG was very famous method to do a portfolio analysis, like Boston Consulting Group. Then there is a McKinsey, a 9-box model is there, where you will understand which product is really doing good compared to the relative market share and which products are really growing, and then you make a decision. Next is product roadmap. So you really need to keep all products on a broader term and see which product is getting launched. So you have to make sure that you're launching right product at the right time with the right quality and then with the right resources. So you cannot build any good product with the resources which are not having enough knowledge. So everything has to be right. It has to be a right budget as well. So this project manager will make sure that all pieces are intact. Next is planning, which is about capturing value. So imagine now you have done enough of market research where you have understood the value, you have started building something around it. One of the major important thing is to make sure that you have monetization in place. So monetization doesn't mean that you need to have money aspect of it every time. That could be monetization about the number of users that should come to your site, number of users which are registering on your site. So, for example, WhatsApp is very much good example where you're not charging to the customer yet, but still Facebook bought it on a wonderful 9.2 billion valuation. So what you have to do it during this is you have to understand what is the market that you are trying to target. You have to really need to have a TAM, which is, you have to understand the total addressable market for your product or services. You have to understand total serviceable market within that. And once you understand that, you need to see how much area you need to prioritize. Then the product strategy comes in picture, where you need to also do a pricing and packaging. Once you figure out a lot of things, you need to also understand to reduce the cost, whether you need to build it by yourself or you need to really have a partnership with others. The other aspect which is very much important is the business model. Business model, I'm not going deeper inside this, but one of the business canvas model by Alexander, you can check it out. I can share more info later on. So this 9-box model is very useful when you start doing something, or if you have certain idea in mind. You need to really understand which customer segments are really important and what value proposition you are really delivering by your product, which channels you're using to deliver those values, what benefits, what key activities are important, key resources required, and what is the cost structure involved in that, what are the revenue streams you're going to have it. So once you have those 9-box ready for your idea, for your business, a lot of things will drive from there. Next is communicating value. So imagine you have everything done properly, you have a wonderful product, and if you don't market well, this is where a lot of chaos happen, where actually the product is made for something else, and then your marketing is something else. This is what happens when if someone is buying a product and they see, it's not matching with what you're really communicating to the end user. So everything has to really match. You have to make sure that how you're positioning your product. Whether you want to really position it as a premium level, that is, it should be the targeting to the masses. You need to be ready with the marketing plan. There are various aspects into that. I will not go in detail about it. You need to be ready with the launch plan on the date of the launch, or before the date of the launch, what activities has to happen, what has to happen during the launch, and what should happen after the launch. Whether your focus is on customer acquisition and what steps you're going to take it. You need to have everything in place. Next, one of the important phase of the value journey is the delivery value. You have everything done perfectly, and this is the place where a lot of products fail, a lot of companies fail here. So once you have everything ready, you have to make sure that you have a correct sales channel enabled. Whatever, for example, let's say someone has really built a nice phone, as a product manager, as a CXO or a founder, you are not going to sell it to the end user, or you are not the interface between the end user. So there is one salesperson who need to really understand what you're trying to, what value you have added to the product. If he doesn't understand that value, he will not be able to, pitch it to the user, where users should really get what we have really made it, what really product that we have built it, that has to be delivered by the salespeople. So as a product manager or as a decision maker of the product or services, he has to make sure that the value that he has really created by doing the right market research and by communicating rightly, that has to get delivered by choosing the right set of route to market. So overall, this is what I just explained, where someone has to really understand value, create value out of it, capture value by doing monetization part of it, communicate value by using the right marketing channels, position it really well in the market, and then really deliver it by choosing the right channels. Other perspective to is, you might have seen is, and it's not necessary that once you do a market analysis, you always have to do a strategic planning or product planning. Sometimes, you might have seen a lot of examples like Kickstarter, where you have an idea, you create a concept out of it, a dummy product, where you create a wonderful video out of it and then put it on Kickstarter and see how much value people see into it, which is where you're really evaluating your concept. Then once you have the funding, crowdsource funding, and then you go back and building and deliver it to the end customer. So nowadays different models are coming. You can always, it's not necessary, so these are not in order. A lot of time, this communicating value can also happen, as I mentioned, before you start creating product. One of the examples which I've already given, another example is online universities. A lot of time, any new course comes, they just announce it and they will see that what exactly you're looking at it based on what user gives the feedback. A lot of course content changes on the fly. So now this is the overall what I just talked about it, where how you can take your idea to the enterprise. What are the different pieces of the phase that you need to concentrate upon. That is not necessary every time you have to do everything. This is another way how you can really manage just the another style of it. It's called productization process. I want to quickly talk about this. What is wrong with this picture? So this is the let me keep it very short. This is called Ghost Cities of China. One of the stories behind that, they have tried to create a model which is like Paris model in China, where they have created wonderful, everything is like almost replica of the Eiffel, which is one sort of Eiffel Tower. They have created a business park around it, residential complexes, parks and everything what you imagine in a smart cities, everything has been created. But what is missing in this is the customers. If you just Google it, you will understand, if you Google it, Ghost Cities of China, you will understand it's not only one particular cities. There are around, 10 plus cities which are known as a ghost cities, where only few people are staying there, and in fact the people who have built it and then migrated there for construction, they are giving this on a rent for as low as $65 a month. So this is what is happening. So if you don't, just build the product is not always work out. You have to make sure that you keep checking regularly with the market. This again, I'll not take much more time on that. It's very obvious, what happens when the product management process really, goes haywire. If you just start building something on your own and don't keep the customer context and picture in mind, this is what happens. If you have a delightful looking product, but if it's not usable, fine, it's gonna stay there as a user piece. Next, quickly, about this good or bad products. You already must be aware of this, where Pepsi started coming with a blue colored water, where it didn't work out in certain cities. Google, they started with the wonderful technology. They shut it down, but their technology is used in Google Docs now. Colgate came up with, they came up with understanding saying that now I'm already good in taste. Let's launch a product which people can eat as well, which is healthy, and it worked out. But this particular example is where they want to really make the life of the user, maybe make them more lazy by giving a product which will not allow them to tilt their head when they are testing to read a book. Other examples, one of the good examples you can see is Microsoft. They came up with a wonderful product, but they couldn't, the concept behind that they wanted kids to use this product, record their voice and learn, as the toys will again repeat what they have recorded, so kids will learn more out of it. But then it worked out. This example is where this is one of the example of a Fair and Lovely where this is a wonderful campaign done in India where they were trying to show that, in the beginning, this is how you look, and after certain 14 to around 20 days, you become like this. Same product if you're trying to launch in other countries, for example, Dubai, this will not work because the reason behind that, it's Dubai. In Dubai, they read from right to left. So now imagine they are just changing the text and writing in Urdu or Dubai language. Imagine user will read it like, oh yes, initially this girl is like this, and after using this product, she became really dark. So this is what you have to really be careful which demographic you're launching your product, and you have to not only change your strategy, you have to check each and every aspect of it. This is quick product failure rates. I don't want to go much deeper inside this. On an average, 3,000 ideas are getting launched. 100 projects are going forward. Only 2 of them are getting launched in US. One is really successful. So this is the data which you can easily see that online, which is sources Stevens GA. What I'm trying to say is, a lot of time you have to change your mindset. Earlier, always the mindset was to do a perfect project planning, make sure that you manage it well. But now you really understand, instead of only managing project, you have to manage your value. What value you were really trying to deliver to this. And this can happen not only by a product manager, but everyone in the process has to really get involved, get participate in that. And this is where, once you involve into that, this is what it comes. You're not only adding a value, you're adding a delight to the user. Imagine, as people have started doing tomato ketchup, they understood saying, they looked at the user, how they're using it, and they come up with a wonderful experience, let's keep this bottle like this, advertisement stay as it is. Product is more accessible, more usable, and everything is perfect. Similar example, these are not commercially famous, but you look at the, delicate and then the design which is, and they're solving an issue as well. So with this, I would again summarize in a higher level recap that once you start, before you do once you do a market research, you have to make sure that you're either building it profitably or choosing the right thing to build, then do a proper product planning to really build it and effectively do a go-to-market strategy, and at the end do a sales enablement as well. So with this, I would like to say thank you to all to join this webinar, and feel free to ask questions here if you have any doubts.
At this point of time, please feel free to send the questions to me across as a message, and I'll broadcast it to the rest of the audience as well as to Prashant, who is the presenter. Here's one question, Prashant. Ryan has asked us, would ValueLabs be able to validate new ideas with the market for us?
Just a minute. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Yes. So far what happened is, we have a team of people who does wonderful market research. Feel free to share your details and we will just check it out whether we can do a full market research for you or need to really understand what level of market research you want to do it. So previously we have done a little bit for various other projects, yeah, feel free to share your details as to the specified email, and then we will get back to you on that.
Thanks, Prashant. In fact, I think we are about to get another question.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a follow-up question from a different attendee, Khushbu. How long does this market research take if you engage ValueLabs for this?
So usually what happens is always depends on what kind of requirement that you have and what kind of product that you're trying to launch and which particular demographic you are trying to launch. For example, let's say you really want to test. So a lot of time it also depends on what you really want to get from the market. A lot of time we just need to check whether this product is really making sense to the user or not, whether the price, what you're trying to put it is right or not, whether they understand overall aspect of it or not. So it all depends on what you're trying to find out from the market. You need to be very clear with your understanding, what you want to find out from the market. Now, if you say that you just need to understand whether there is a need for that market or not. You need to really have a proper, using a conjoint analysis, and there are various analysis is available in the market. You can see whether there is a need for your product or not. And coming to your answer, to the question, it usually takes somewhere between 2 weeks to 2 months. So all depends on what kind of really market research you want to do it.
Thanks, Prashant. A follow-up question to the first one. His question was in regards to what practices are applied to the market research. Would they be surveys? Would there be ethnography? Would there be lean startup, etc.?
Yes. So usually, what product that you are choosing, that makes more difference. For example, if you just have the physical product, then it makes more sense to do a different level of testing. It's not only one method you should use it. You should do a definitely ethnography as well, where you really try to understand what are the main pain points instead of going, just observing is not enough. You need to really go inside and ask them a probing question. Other aspect is using surveys, online surveys. The few other style of doing survey is where you quickly, it's called where you can just quickly go to any particular place where you feel that product would be useful and ask them 5 questions, and then go deeper to find out what are the main pain points by either observing them. A lot of time, a lot of problems are just resolved by if you do not interact with the user and just observe them. So there are different market types of market research, which can be used based on what you really need to get out.
Thanks, Prashant. Would there be any other questions? If not, I will conclude with my remarks. Right. So I don't think there are additional questions, Prashant. So what I'll do is, yes. I have also been asked, would the slide deck be available? In fact, yes. Once this webinar is concluded, we would be able to share the recording of this particular webinar with you, and we will also share the slide deck. You would need to get in touch with us at events@marketing.com, and then we'll get back to you on that. Concluding our presentation today from an idea to its commercial launch, the productizing process, I would like to thank Prashant for this insightful session. Like I said, you can find the recorded version of the webinar on the ValueLabs website under the resources tab. You can also write to us at marketing@valuelabs.net if you would like to have the recorded version emailed to you. Thank you so much for joining us and taking the time to view our presentation. Once again, this is Aditya Sanyal from ValueLabs. Have a great day.